Welcome to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm your host, Luke Darnell. This week we have Jared Huizenga with Insane Swine. Jared cooks out of Massachusetts and has an absolutely ridiculous batting average, finishing in the top 10 in 68% of the contests that he's cooked. I think you'll enjoy this interview, getting to know one of the best pitmasters in the Northeast. Please join me in welcoming Jared Huizenga. I am here with Jared Huizenga from Insane Swine, and I said your name right, correct?
You absolutely did.
Yeah, it took me probably 4 years to get that right.
You're one of the few that has it right after like 15 years. So thank you. Appreciate that.
So I normally like to start these things off with a story about how I got to know somebody, and I think that how you and I got to spend some time together is probably one of the more unique stories. In that you guys were coming down to Virginia for a class, asked if we wanted to have breakfast on Sunday morning, and you took us to the Guar Bar.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the Guar Bar, and I neither of us really knew you that well at the time, and didn't really realize you're a little bit squeamish when it comes to gore and blood and things like that. So, and inside the Guar Bar, if folks have never been there, there's like fake blood splatters all over the place. There's like gruesome heads mounted to the walls and the ceiling, and just all sorts of gruesome stuff. So I felt kind of bad about that.
Oh no, it was great because we were driving down to Richmond to go, and I was like, maybe we ought to look up Guar and see what this is all about. And so Kim's in the passenger seat, and she looked it up, and we put some music on, and I was like, okay.
But that was a great time though. We had such a fun time with you guys, and the brunch was awesome. The food was good. The drinks were good. It was a great time.
And we've taken people back. We've gone there 3 times now, and taken other people there, and they're like, how did you find this place? And I'm like, makes sense. And I'm like, but they did play some NWA at one point during the morning, and I was like, okay, this place is gold.
Yeah, the music was definitely good. It was a mix of metal and rap and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it was it's a cool place. I recommend going there.
Yeah, man. Well, let's get into it a little bit because, I just went through a lot of your statistics and stuff from over the years, and you have an amazing batting average in terms of finishing in the top 10 when you cook. It is truly something to behold, especially where you cook up in the Northeast and the low scores. It really is an honor to have you on here.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's something that we work hard at. I'm known as being sometimes kind of a jerk at contests, but I'm really not. It's that I'm so focused on things. Yeah, some people go to contests and they love having a great time, and you should have a great time at contests. And some people have a really, really great time indulging at contests, and I can't do that because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. I'm super focused on things, and I think that's part of what leads to the consistency.
Yeah, I would describe you as unflappable. There's you have your routine and what you're going to do, and when you have time to come and hang out, you do. I've learned a lot from that level of focus because I think what you just described in terms of people going to have a good time and people coming there to actually cook is finding that balance. And I think that I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. I think I think most of us have been there and in party mode, especially when you're first starting out. It's and again, not that you shouldn't have fun at contests, but the most fun I can have at a contest is to win it.
Absolutely, I agree. One of the things that struck me about you from the very beginning, and I think the first time we actually met was at Donnie Bray's class, waiting for the bus, I think. When you're at a contest, I think that you have an amazing confidence about you. And where does that confidence come from?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it definitely doesn't come naturally. We've all had our failures, and I know that's one of the questions you like to ask on your podcast. Not to jump ahead here, but I think the confidence really comes from a lot of those failures, and boy, I've had a lot of them, especially with brisket. Lots of early failures, and also probably jumping ahead a little bit too, but Donnie Bray was a big reason why I am where I am today in brisket specifically. But no, the confidence just comes from practice. I
Yeah.
practice a ton. I just finished my third chicken practice in the last, I think, 3 weeks.
Wow.
And so that's something we were struggling with last couple of years, and I've totally changed that program. We'll see how it happens in New Jersey next month, but how it goes there. But yeah, the confidence just comes from practice. And yeah, if you're doing turn-ins and you're not confident in what you're turning in, I think that's one of the big pitfalls. If you're questioning, my one of my philosophies is you win or lose at turn-ins. When you're building that box, that's just as important as the meat you select and how you cook it.
Absolutely.
What you put in that box, you've got to be sure that that's what you want to put in that box, and
Right.
that's the way I look at it.
No, I agree with that 100%. And it's something that I've actually learned from this podcast is that, there's always some more time there at the end to make something right. And there's always time to try and make it just a little bit better. I've really focused on that, the last 3 weeks, and it's really helped.
Yeah, whenever someone comes by and it's close to turn-ins, it's close to noon there, and people say, "Hey, how's it going?" And I always tell them truthfully, "Still time to f it up. It's
Right.
until you turn in that box, you have time to either mess it up or you have time to make it really great." And that's really key. Those last minute decisions, I think, are so important.
Yeah. You mentioned failures. Do you have we've all had a ton of them. And, that's one of the things about doing this for so long. And you've been doing this for what, since 2008, I think?
Yep.
So do you have any favorite failures of yours that really taught you something big?
Yeah, I've got a couple. The one that first comes to mind, we were at the Sam's Club regional. So it was, I believe, it was in Virginia. I don't remember if it was Chesapeake or if it was Richmond at the time, or even really what year it was. But we got DQ'd on a category for putting something in the box that we did not know was in the box. But when we closed the lid, that was apparently something was in the lid and it went in the box. And we always check, we always open it back up and look at it and make sure nothing foreign is in the box. I'll tell you what it was. It was a Q-tip because we were cleaning our boxes with Q-tips, with cotton swabs back
Did
then.
you leave it in the lid?
We left it in the lid. Of course, it was white. It wasn't one of those bright pink,
Yeah.
Q-tips and something like that. So it blended right into the top of the box. We usually open the box. We didn't this time to make sure there's nothing weird in there. And it was kind of nerves is really what it was, because we were rushing. I think it was our first regional, Sam's regional, and we were rushing when we didn't have to. We still had several minutes left, but so that really taught me a lot about two things. Number one, check the frickin' box to make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be in there. And number two is just not to let the nerves get you in the end when you're again turning in such a critical time. Don't let nerves get to you. And we've turned in literally with 2 or 3 seconds left. We've done that a lot. Not saying it's a great thing, but we try to make sure things are as good as they can be. Kind of sometimes to our detriment, but yeah, we try not to let nerves get to us, and that was a big learning moment.
And that's one of the things that we always talk about when we've done a contest with you, because I always see Suzanne trucking that box, and it's right at the end, and Kim just looks at me and she goes, "If you ever do that to me, it's just not."
It's not going to be fun. Yeah, no, I've gotten better. I've gotten better. We've gotten better. The last full year we competed in 2019. I was trying to leave at least a couple minutes, and that for us that's pretty darn good. But yeah, it was kind of the running joke for a while. Like 2013, 14, 15, we were always turning in like in the last 10 seconds or so. And Suzanne, my wife and teammate, puts up with this crazy hobby a lot of the time, is a perfectionist, and I am also to some degree. So when you have two perfectionists looking at a box, nitpicking, and saying that this piece of parsley is a little off, it's sticking up a little too much, or whatever it might be. Yeah, we do that a little bit more than we probably have to.
You talked earlier about your focus. Do you ever find situations where your things are going on and you're unfocused? And what do you do to bring that focus back?
Yeah, sometimes it happens. I mean, usually what happens to bring that focus back is Suzanne, to be quite honest with you. She's really good at seeing. I very rarely get upset about anything, to be honest with you. So if she sees that I'm upset, it's pretty easy to notice that, and she'll kind of talk me through it and say, okay, so this happened. Your smoker was running hot overnight or whatever, and so now what can you do about that? What else can you think about? Kind of what else needs to be done there? What else could you be doing? What can I help with? So she's great at that in those rare instances where things aren't going right and I am kind of unfocused and not doing what I should be doing. Maybe she'll bring me back in. She knows the schedule. She knows kind of where I should be at and what I should be doing at any
Yeah.
particular time.
I say often that we're only as good as the people around us. And I know a lot of times that my wife keeps me in check in terms of, hey, you don't need to be watching that. Or sometimes you do need to sit there and watch a bunch of the world's strongest men competitors sitting underneath the Insane Swine table while Jared's turning brisket or trimming brisket.
Yeah. Lake Placid is a fun contest. I've had the pleasure of being there with you guys. I don't get to see you all that often, but Lake Placid was a fun one when it started raining and everyone there at the strongman contest came running into my tent. So I'm not the most social person. I never claimed to be. So it takes a lot to warm up to people for me. Growing up, I was painfully shy, to be honest with you, up until high school. And I had a teacher, a little bit of a tangent here. I had a teacher that kind of opened up my shell, and I bloomed a little bit from there. Still shy, but not quite as painfully shy. So when I see 20, 30 people heading for my easy up, and I don't know who they are or what they're doing.
And they're all massive people. They're all insanely strong.
Yeah. You were right across from me at that contest, and it was, I'm sure, a sight to behold.
Well, we were sitting at Ed and Jenny's camper.
Mm-hmm.
From Fire Down Below. We were sitting there because it was raining, and
Yep.
I looked over at Kim and I went, "Look at this! Like, this isn't good."
Yeah, but I'm sure you were laughing your ass off too.
100%. There were these two girls wearing gold lame like stretch pants, and they were both like could easily like rip our arms off and beat us to death with them. And they're literally underneath the table, and Jared has the monster SRF brisket that he's trimming, and I'm just like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I had to tell a couple of them to back up a little bit, or they were going to get squirted with the injection. I remember that.
And I don't know. I did not intend on telling that story during this, but it all of a sudden popped in my head. I was like, I got to get this in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about investments and stuff. You've been doing this since 2008. What's one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've made in competition barbecue?
The best investment with regards to barbecue, I mean, we did this since 2008 to 2000 through 2012 with just a minimal setup. So basically an SUV, WSMs, slept in the SUV in the back of the Explorer. The best investment, it's going to sound really sad probably, was our utility trailer. We don't have an RV. We still don't. But getting that utility trailer and someplace we could set up cots and sleep and put electric blankets in and things like that. That was the year 2013 we got that. And not coincidentally was our first GC was in 2013.
Right.
So that was and I know a lot of people, we still have the utility trailer, same one we got in 2013. A lot of people say, well, why don't you get an RV? And I keep thinking, well, one of these years I'm not going to want to do barbecue anymore, so I don't want to invest in an RV. But we're actually thinking about it though, as we're getting older. Next year, we're thinking about getting a small RV that we can also take camping and things like that. So that was probably the best investment. That and my first smoker outside of WSM is Backwoods. G2 Party smoker, and I still use it. And I got that in 2013 too.
Yeah, you don't seem like a guy that has to go out and change and get the newest smoker and the newest thing going on. You seem you're pretty set in your program.
Yeah, no, I like, I have gotten other smokers over the years as well. I cook my ribs on a Humphrey smoker, still use the same one from 2013 for my brisket and my pork. I cook overnight with no draft system. I don't use a Guru or anything like that. For my overnight cook, I just took the plunge last year and started using a draft system for my ribs just because so I don't have to worry about them while I'm doing other stuff throughout the morning. But other than that, no, I'm pretty old school. I don't need the flashiest new things. I don't want to buy a new smoker or a new RV or anything like that every year.
Right on. So those are all expensive things. Do you have a thing that's a purchase of $100 or less that has most positively impacted your barbecue?
I have one that was under $5, and I think it's still available on Amazon for under $5. And this was new to me like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe everyone uses them. I have no idea. But it's a powdered sugar shaker for my finishing rub. Is totally changed my finishing rub game. So I use a finishing rub that's a powder, basically. Was having trouble, getting out of a regular shaker. I would take pinches of it and do it that way, but it wasn't coming out even. So I bought a powdered sugar shaker with a fine mesh, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Huh. What's the finishing rub?
Finishing rub. I have a couple different ones. I'll tell you. Yeah. I'll tell you what it is. Well, I'll tell you what it is. Let's see. What do I tell you? I'll tell you what it is for my brisket.
It's not true, ladies and gentlemen. This will not be true.
It's the jalapeno. No, it's not jalapeno.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never met Jared, he's tighter than a drum on this stuff. He's not giving up anything.
Yeah, no, I don't share a lot. No, that's true. That's
what
true.
I always ask, and I always get a different answer every time.
Yeah. You'll get to ask me 10 times, you'll get 10 different answers.
That's my favorite thing to do. Let's talk about some people a little bit. Who's impacted your life the most in competition barbecue?
That's a tough one because so many people have. I'll mention 3 really quickly. So the first one is Chris Hart from IQ up in this area. I mean, almost everyone you talk to has been influenced by Chris Hart. I know Bill Gillespie from Smoking Hogs and has also been heavily influenced. Lots of people, right? It's the first class I took was Chris Hart's way back in the day. I think it was maybe like his second or third class that he ever taught. And it totally opened my eyes. It's like it totally changed the way I do everything, basically, for the better. So that's number one. Chris is just a great guy. He's
Yeah.
just you know him, and he's just fun to be around. Down to earth guy. The second one I'll say is Billy from Smoking Hogs. Billy's he's a lot more than just a fellow competitor. He's a friend, and he's like a brother, really. If I had a second brother, Billy would be it. We share a lot of the same views, not just on barbecue, but on life and lots of different things. So he's just a great guy. Everyone who knows Bill loves him. How can't you? And he's helped me a lot along the way too. He's given me a lot of great advice.
Yeah.
And the third one I mentioned already is Donnie Bray. I don't know Donnie really well personally, but taking his class again, just really, it totally changed my brisket. It totally changed it for the better. And I've finally got brisket dialed in because of Donnie Bray. First time I met Donnie Bray was actually at the World Food Championships. We had, I think it was 2014. It was in Vegas. And we had both made it to the barbecue top 10. He was first, I was second after the first round. So I got a chance to talk to him a little bit, kind of backstage there, and just a great guy, just a really, again, down to earth, just fun to talk to, really, really good guy.
It's funny the corollaries that you and I have, and that Chris Hart was my first class that I took, and Donnie's class is, probably I went there for chicken because I didn't know how to cook a piece of competition chicken, and and I still do 99% of what I learned from Donnie. In those two things, it's amazing how, and I think that's what's changed barbecue a lot, in that everybody has had one or two classes, and everyone that learning curve has been shortened a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with all the classes these days. I mean, the learning curve, and yeah, you kind of joked before that I don't give a straight answer when people ask me for secrets and things like that. I don't. And my view is, I've taken classes, I've learned from other people. If you want to learn like the truth, go take a class. If you want the BS answer, you can come to me, because I probably won't be telling you what I actually do. But take a class. Don't come to me for free information. Go find it out on your own, right?
Right. What was the biggest turning point in your career as a pitmaster?
Biggest turning point, to be honest, was probably just when we started doing more competitions. 2013. I keep going back to that year because it's the first year that we did, I believe, more than 10 competitions. Before that, we were doing 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 for a few years, and when 2013 came, it was like, I want to get a little more serious about this. I want to invest in the trailer, the smokers, a class, Chris Hart's class. I took also Lakeside Smokers. Mike no longer competes, but I took his class as well, and learned a lot from that. But that was really the turning point. Just getting out there, getting more serious about it, and doing more competitions, investing a little bit more money in it. Realizing what like a competition brisket should be, instead of buying it at the local butcher shop or Walmart or wherever I was getting them back then. That helped too. But just kind of getting more serious and doing more competitions was really a turning point. And our first barbecue win was in May of 2013. We did a competition up in New Hampshire, which no longer exists, and they do grilling, or at the time they did a lot of grilling competitions on Saturdays up here in the
Yeah.
Northeast, and we were known as a grilling team at that point because we had won a lot of grilling competitions, and we were pretty good at grilling competitions at the time. From 2009 to about 2012, we were good at grilling, and that's kind of what we were known for. So our first barbecue win was May of 2013, and we won the grilling competition on Saturday, and then we won our first barbecue competition the next day on Sunday. So it was exciting. It was a thrill. It was, kind of confirmation that I was kind of on the right track there.
Yeah. I tell people all the time when they ask, how do I get better? I've had a class, how do I get better? And I'm like, go cook 4 weekends in a row. And you'll really, number one, you're going to find out what you're made of stamina wise. Number two, you're going to really learn your cook because you've done it so many weekends in a row. You can really like start tweaking small things and seeing how they change things. And I mean, I know the first time that we really cooked like 22 in a year, I think it's the first time that we got that high. And I was like, we did 5 weekends in a row. I was like, okay. And, Kim would be like, well, that little change made a huge difference, and I really think that's really a good way to get better.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the only way to get better by tweaking things, because you don't want to do one competition and have a bad result and then the next competition do something totally different. You want to tweak it a little bit, see if that helps. Then at the third competition, you tweak it a little bit more. Maybe you're on the right track now. And at that fourth competition, fifth competition, you might be getting calls.
Right where you are, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yep. So one of my favorite things about you is that I think that you're a fairly superstitious guy, and you have a lot of habits, rituals, and routines. A couple of those you could share.
Probably not as many as you think, but I do have a couple. So it's no surprise to anyone here probably who follows us on Facebook. When we travel, every time we go to a rest area that has a claw machine, I play it. It's one of those quirky things that getting probably to the unusual habits too that I do. I'll play the claw machine. I'll win one of these stupid stuffed animals that cost probably 5 cents to make, but I spend like $1 or $2 trying to win it. So that's one thing. I'll play at least one claw machine if we're going out to Kansas City or on a longer trip. I'll do that. So that's one thing. I have, I think, what is a magical trash can that we got in 2013. I've been using it ever since 2013. It's one of those brute, garbage cans, big garbage cans. But I think that has some sort of magical power. I don't know, since I've been using it since we've won. And that I'm also you got me into this, the MeUndies. There are I still think, man, if you're not sponsored by them, you should be working on that. Absolutely.
I've sent several messages, but
yeah, you've turned so many people on to them. They're making so much money because of you. You should get a piece of that. But yeah, there are some patterns of the MeUndies that I do prefer to wear at competitions. So
important.
Yeah. So that's probably about it. The year that I did the best at the Sam's Club final. I think I was at the Sam's Club final 4 times. I think we made it there, and one time Suzanne had to come back home. She had another engagement that she needed a wedding that she needed to attend here at home. So she drove out with me to the Sam's Club. Then she took a plane back home. She said, I'm going to leave you some good luck charms here. And what those were, there was a rosary and there was a condom that we bought at one of the rest areas on the way out. So she put the rosary and the condom together up on the Easy Up pole, taped them to the pole. And hey, I'll be damned, we came in 3rd place. So, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
That might be I normally take something from each episode, and that's the title. This one might be called The Rosary and the Condom.
There you go. That's perfect.
Well, I think we've already established that you're you're a big metalhead, and if anyone's seen your terrifying barbecue logo, with a basically zombie pig with chains, and it's very scary. I mean, you do listen to music when you're cooking, don't you?
Oh yeah, I love music, and I
You
am a
listen to a lot
metalhead.
of different stuff, though.
I do. Yeah, I do. I am a metalhead. I grew up on 80s hair metal, and Iron Maiden was a big band I loved, and that's what our logo's based off of, the Peace of Mind album cover from Iron Maiden. A quick story though too, and I think we've told you this. I met my wife in college online back when meeting someone online was like scary, really
Right, right,
scary.
right. Yeah.
And back when the screens were still mainly text, there weren't a lot of images and graphics and things like there are now. We met on a chat line for the band Megadeth, and that's how we met. We were both fans of the band Megadeth, and met there, and kind of the rest is history. I moved out to Mass after I graduated, and so yeah, that's another little metal story there for you. But yeah, I like lots of stuff. I mean, in our on Sirius and our truck and our car, I mean, there's everything from Hair Nation to Ozzy's Boneyard, but also 80s, 90s. There's the 40s channel. I've been into the 40s Junction a lot.
I love that channel.
I love it, man. If you just want to chill out,
Right.
listen to that. Oh man, it's awesome. So yeah, Lithium, I mean Octane, obviously Liquid Metal, but really a range of stuff. And yeah, music. We listen to music when we do turn-ins. Not the same exact songs every time, but the same type of music, which is rock or heavy metal music. So yeah, it's music is really an important part of our lives, and we've missed the concert scene over the
Oh
past
gosh.
year.
Yeah. We've actually gone as far now that we have playlists for each meet.
Mm.
It's turned into point of contention, especially during brisket, because there's one track that I have on there, which is Stevie Ray Vaughan playing Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Child
Mm.
at Carnegie Hall.
Cool.
And it is, but it's 9 minutes. And Kim can only listen to guitar solos for so long. So this weekend was the first time, like after 4 minutes, I said, "You can go to the next track," and I think it threw me off. And
Oh,
I wasn't pleased with not hearing the rest of that song. But what are you gonna do? Happy life,
yeah.
happy life.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I tried the whole thing where I had a playlist that I started at like 11 in the morning and would play it through turn-ins, but I got kind of tired of it. It got
Yeah,
a little too repetitive for me, and I found that it didn't really help me out too much. So I just went back to shuffling and playing some of the hair metal during turn-ins. But yeah, I know a lot of people do that. They have a set playlist that they play for turn-ins, which is pretty cool.
yeah. I don't know. I think I'm getting away from it, but we'll
Hmm.
see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Or maybe they just need updated.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I do switch it up too. Every year I add some songs to the playlist just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So when you're a week out from a competition, is your week the same every week that you compete?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, we buy the meats around the same time, so I'll start looking for chicken. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, and pork, and I'll tell you a couple little tidbits, a couple little secrets. The brisket obviously is frozen, so I take that out. You can imagine what kind of brisket I probably use. The pork and the ribs, I also have no problem freezing. So pork and ribs are usually in the freezer, so it's just a matter of taking them out, and I'll shop for them. I'll try to get like a month's worth in a normal competition year.
Yeah.
I'll shop for like a month at a time on the pork and
Oh
the
wow.
ribs. So it's just a matter of hopefully once or twice a month, kind of sourcing those. But yeah, the chicken, I'll try to. I don't freeze the chicken, so I'll typically get that on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, depending on when I can go out and get it. But yeah, I mean, just packing, making rubs, making sauces that's all pretty much a Monday thing. Get those all packed up and ready to go. But yeah, it's pretty much the same. I mean, work gets in the way once in a while, so I might have to delay a day if I have to. But yeah, it's pretty much the same week in and week out.
So you've said a couple of times you're an old school cook. So you are probably a feel guy, and gut feelings. How do you relate to those gut feelings when you're cooking?
A lot of it's gut feeling, but I think a lot of it too is I know a lot of people just getting into competition barbecue that think 1 + 1 = 2. So they want to just, if I do one thing and then another thing, it's going to lead to me getting awards. And, there's all these other factors that come into play, right? You open something up, like you open up a pork butt and it's got a big gash in the money muscle, or
Yep.
because I like to take chances and not open my pork butts before competition. So that's a whole other thing. But anyway, there's a lot of variables that you can't plan on necessarily. So a lot of it is feel, and a lot of it is, not. Now there is a science to barbecue as well. Yeah, obviously, but I think it's more of an art than a science. I feel it is anyway. And so, yeah, I do a lot by feel. I do a lot by. Here's one thing. I don't overnight. I said I don't use a draft system. I use my backwood smokers. I use one, and I leave the top vent open. I get the smoker up to 250, 260, and I close the bottom vents. So when I wake up, the smoker could be 250, it could be 180. So at the Jack, the year we got fourth, that was 2013. It was a cold, cold night. There was frost on the smokers when I got up that morning, and my temperature on my smoker, it was 250, 260 when I went to bed. It was 179 when I got up.
Wow.
And I didn't panic. I don't panic. I got the temperature back up to 260-ish and 270 maybe, and went from there. And yeah, got third place overall. But I'm not one of these guys who, need a draft system and they need it to be like 250. Like, oh no, it's 255. What do I do? Oh my God, I got to get it back to 250. I'm not like that at all. You got to know your smoker. You got to know your meat. You got to know how to adjust when the temp is too high, temp is too low. It's not the end of the world. You just adjust however you need to get that end product. So yeah, a lot of it's definitely by feel.
Right on, right on. I agree with you on that, and it's one of those things. Since I've switched to a stick burner, having to, maybe you're not right on your wood timeline because the wind's different, or and you feel like you should put one in. If you do, then you should do it. If something rumbles in the gut, I gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta go. So, well, I want to thank you very much for being on here, but now we got to get to my favorite part of the interview, which is the rapid fire questions.
Oh boy, fun stuff.
The first one is always fun for me because it's, what do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
Everything. No, I'm more amused than anything. I don't really get too upset by stuff that I see, but I'm more amused by people who have never won anything but think they're the authority on everything. That's amusing to me. I see that a lot. I'm not going to mention any names. Not going to be that guy. But yeah, I see a lot of that. And for some reason, and it shouldn't bother me, but every time there's a competition and I'm not at, and people are posting on forums saying who's streaming awards, it for some reason it drives me crazy. I don't know why, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. If I want to watch the awards, I'll find them somewhere, but I don't need 10 people asking who's streaming awards. I guess that's kind of annoying too.
It is, and as someone who used to stream them all the time, it just got to. I was getting 30 messages a day about like, "Are you streaming awards? Are you streaming awards?" And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this because I'm just getting barraged.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know what you're getting into there.
Right. Do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
Not really. Definitely not pre or during. When we get back from competitions, it's either pizza, Chinese, or DQ. Actually, not really for the food at DQ, but we like the blizzards from time to time after a competition. So yeah, that's about it though for the food.
Right on. You have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Bad advice is my greatest gift. I think that and sarcasm. I think that's an awesome gift too. So other than those, no,
Those are your gifts to the world.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you got to have fun, you know.
However, I am going to. One of your favorite hats is one of my favorite hats, and it's a moon pie hat. And I didn't know what a moon pie was, and I call Jared Moon Pie all the time. That's the alternate title for this is Moon Pie. But
Yes.
one day, you and Suzanne sent me and Kim this moon pie gift box, which was absolutely amazing. And that basket still sits in our bar, like it's one of the decorations. And people always ask about it, and I tell them the story of the hat.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, that's your loving name for me and has been for many, many years. So yeah, that's awesome.
It will be forever. So this one is one of my favorites. If you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, message out to millions or billions, what would it say and why?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. At the top of the billboard, I'd have a nice heart, a pretty like Valentine heart, and it would say "Be yourself." And then under that, I would have a middle finger, and it would say "Just leave me alone." I think that sums me up pretty well. I think, be who you want to be, do what you want to do, believe what you want to believe, but nah, don't pull that crap with me. Here's another one. Here's another one. I like a picture of you up there
Oh, man.
bending over with Sean Gillespie behind you, and the caption would be "Try butt stuff." How about that? That's a good one, right? At the Cooks meeting there.
So I didn't go to Cook's meeting this weekend,
Ah,
and I was accused today because that's where it first happened was in Urbana.
yep.
And I was accused today that the reason that I didn't do well and Bill didn't do well is because I didn't go to Cook's meeting
Uh-oh.
and Sean didn't violate me. So
Uh, yeah, if folks out there haven't heard Sean on the Teammates podcast, definitely check it out. That was a good one.
it gets a little handsy. Lastly, and I'm so excited about this, what is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
Oh, I already mentioned the claw machines, so
Yeah.
that's one. Gosh, unusual a habit probably fits me better. At competitions, I don't use lights. If you come to my site, it's likely even at midnight when I'm up putting meat on, it's totally dark. I use a headlamp and that's it. So that's probably one thing. I don't sit down at competitions.
No, you do not. It is
Uh,
impressive.
no, I don't. We have chairs. Suzanne uses chairs, and I just don't. I think I don't want to call it a nervous habit. It's just I just don't want to sit down. I just feel like I can focus better, and once I sit down, that's the end of that's the end of the story. I'm not getting back up, so I just like to stay upright and keep focused. But
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's probably about it for me. I probably got a million. Suzanne could probably tell you million unusual habits and oddities and all sorts of stuff. But as far as what I'm willing to share, that's probably about it.
There we go. Well, you've shared a lot, and it's been great having you on. And I just can't wait to see you again, man. We only got to see each other a couple of times last year because of COVID, and we always have a great time. We usually get to go out to dinner at least once, and it is always a fantastic time seeing you guys, and can't wait to do it again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. That goes double for us. We can't wait to see you guys hang out. Get back to quote unquote normal, and just not even just the barbecue stuff, just hanging out. And
That's
yeah, absolutely.
They say the number one thing for barbecue that everyone says is the people and having great friends all around the country, and we couldn't be more blessed to have you guys. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. We feel the exact same, and yeah, the friendships are always going to last, despite what happens in the competition world. It's that's really what it's all about.
absolutely, my friend. Well, I'll see you here in a few weeks. Okay.
All right, sounds good, man.
All righty. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. We will have another episode for you next week. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2021.
Yes, Old Virginia Smoke.